And we are here. We are back. We are off and running. We are large and in charge. This is the Great Classic Movie Debate. I'm Kenny.
I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And we talk anything and everything pertaining to movies, classic movies, any movies, current movies. Try to keep it fun and interesting. If you're watching right now, please like, comment, and subscribe. And check out our sister channel, The Great Classic Rock Debate, where we do the same thing over there and we have fun. Okay, so we had talked about possibly, I think, Paul, I think you said musicals that have like a rock.
Start with rock and then work out of that.
Okay. Okay, let me just put this one out there first, okay? Sometime soon, in the next week or two or three, whatever, I want to do a deep dive into JFK, okay? So if you guys need to go back and watch it to refresh yourself, do that.
Oh.
Because last night we started watching it. When we got about an hour in and I was falling asleep, but that movie, OMG, mind-boggling and good. And you know, with all the craziness going on in the world right now, especially in the political realm, and with Robert Kennedy out there saying, they assassinated my uncle and it was a conspiracy. And he's not saying it as if there's any gray area.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
saying it. Yeah.
And his dad.
Correct. Yeah. So this is we're not a political show, but I think that we can really get into the meat and potatoes of that and have fun with it.
RFK, I heard RFK Jr. said his dad called up when JFK was shot, called up the director of the CIA and said, "Did you guys have anything to do with this?" So
yeah, I believe that.
That's how much he believed back in 1963 that they were involved with it.
Yeah.
On the day it happened. So
yeah. So anyway, within the next week or two, let's do a deep dive into JFK, and we're going to really go at it. And I think that's going to be lots and lots of fun and very interesting to watch. Okay, so Paul, start us off. Give us a musical that you've got on your mind.
Well, when I think of rock musical, the first one that comes to my mind is Tommy by The Who.
Okay.
And this is Pete Townshend's creation, and
correct.
They made an album of it, and then what's weird, this is one of the weird things, and I don't know how you guys feel, like I can't stand a lot of the Who's versions of those songs. You're gonna laugh. But when the movie came out and they did, like, I can't stand their version of Pinball Wizard. I will turn the radio channel off.
Really?
Elton John come on and sing it, I'm cranking that baby up. I love it.
Let me interrupt real quick, because I always liked the Who version, and because Elton John was so flamboyant, you know, he had his style and it was unmistakable, and it's almost like that song was just tailor-made for what he's then going to do with it. Because I never liked the Who version any less, but his version was so good that it just kind of makes you say, well, you know, the Who's version was nice, but it's going to be forgotten moving forward here.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't ever put the Who's version, and I'm a huge Who fan. Still put that version and put the Elton John version. It's the Who in the background, and then you start dissecting this movie, and you're like, oh my god,
who did it first?
The Who.
Oh, the Who. It's the Who song.
So, if I had a time machine,
hold on.
I would go back and murder Pete Townsend.
What?
No, I hate that song. I like the Who, but I hate that song.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's one of my top 10 songs of all time. I'll get misty when I hear it.
In 1974 or 75, whatever year it was, when they made the movie and Elton John's hit went to #1 on the charts, I'm telling you, that song was everywhere, and I didn't know anybody who didn't like it. Everybody liked it.
Yeah, it was. So if you think about this album or the movie album, you had top 2 guitar player, 3 on Earth, Eric Clapton playing an old, I think Robert Johnson, Eyesight to the Blind. I think he's right, and he's doing that in the Who. I mean, oh my god, you're like, holy crap! And then you got Tina Turner, the Acid Queen, and you know it just. Go ahead, Steve.
As a point of clarification for me, because I've never seen it, is it a musical or is it like Led Zeppelin's.
No, it's a musical.
It's a musical.
Okay.
It's I saw it on HBO as a kid, as a boy. It really affected me because the movie's about a boy.
Yeah.
And back then, me and my dad had a lot of problems. So when I see this movie, so in the movie, his dad's a fighter pilot or a bomber pilot in the RAF, and his mom shacks up with another man, and they think his dad's been shot down. It turns out he's alive. He comes in, he sees his wife shacked up with a guy, and they kill him right in front of the boy and murder him. And they yell at him, "Don't talk, don't live here, don't do anything." And that's exactly what he does. So for the next 20 years, he does nothing.
Right.
And then finally, he breaks his throat. He learns to play pinball, and that rises to the set to be like almost like a deity or a figure.
Okay. On that note, I have to mention this really quick.
Right.
One of my favorite songs of all time. I don't mean just classic rock. I just mean songs, period. I've always liked it ever since I was a kid. I don't know, 12 or whatever when I heard it for the first time. And even to this day, this song still stops me in my tracks every time I hear it. See Me, Feel Me.
Yes.
There's something about it. I don't know what it is. There's something about that song, man.
The reason I brought this up because that's you said God, Journey, the Who song, what's it called? Amazing Journey by the Who.
Right.
The song is the template for the whole movie of the song chords and progressions and of the whole movie, Steve. So it takes you through the whole movie in 8 minutes or 7, whatever it is. Every time I hear it, because that's in that song what Steve's talking about. This kid's had this horrific. I mean, they do a lot of horrific things to him. Okay, he just doesn't say anything. He just sits there and takes it. So, all right. So let's go on about what's it. Now, I don't think either one of you two have ever seen The Rose with Bette Midler.
I did not see it.
It is really, really good.
I heard that, and at the time that the movie was out, it was very popular, and I thought of it as a chick movie, maybe not, but
no, it's not.
Okay, but everybody who
rock. Is it a rock
Rose.
musical? The Rose is it a rock?
Because she is basically Janis Joplin.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And she's like out of control on drugs. And she does whatever. And every single time she goes out on stage, she says, "Hello, MFers." Every single time, and they're gonna kick you out of the record contract. She doesn't care. She's gonna walk out. She goes, "Hello." It's hilarious because you won't listen to anybody. The woman's a great singer. This movie, she's singing rock stuff. It's excellent.
Yeah.
And,
I was never a fan of that song. Emphasis on the word never. And if you were not a fan of that song, it was really hard to get away from it back in 1980. Man, it was ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. Okay, the other movie, and oh my God, I didn't care for it. What's that movie? It came out like 10, 12 years ago. God. Tom Cruise was in it. Rock of Ages.
Yeah, it was less than 10 years ago.
Musical, is it?
It was. It was.
Did you see it, Steve?
No, I guess I'm thinking of the one with that Zach Wilde's in with Mark Wahlberg.
You're talking about oh my God, Rockstar. That's not a musical.
Yeah, Rockstar. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's not a musical.
About that in a minute. But yeah, like in this movie, Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin make out. And I'm like, why am I in a rock movie being forced to see this?
Yeah, you paid for that.
I didn't pay for it, but I saw it. Never saw the movie in the theater at gunpoint.
Well, you know that at the time, and I don't think it was 10 years ago. I think it was less than that, but whatever.
You could be right. I'm just guessing.
Okay. At the time that it was coming up for release, they pumped a lot of money into the promotion because those trailers were running all the time. And I have to say, I was kind of excited to see it. I was like, wow, I mean, maybe this thing's going to be really good. My thought was they've got actors singing rock songs, and that might not work. I don't know. But it just seemed like, I mean, if they can't sing, why would they have put him in that role anyway. So opening night, I'm waiting, or I should say opening weekend, I'm waiting to hear somebody say, yeah, I saw it and it was really good. And I'm hearing almost nothing. And the critics really slammed it like, man, it's not good. And it was out of the theaters just in a matter of days.
There was a lot of thought put in this movie, and Tom Cruise could sing. He was damn good in that movie.
Okay.
That may have been around the time when Tom Cruise had his. He's kind of had like a resurgence over probably the last 10 years.
Yes.
Because he did that little stint on Oprah and kind of went away. And then he kind of came back with, like, you didn't hear from him for a few years, and then Tropic Thunder came out.
Right.
Oh my God.
And so I think Rock of Ages was after Tropic Thunder.
It was after,
That's
no
correct.
question.
Yeah. I remember in the movie theater, I was in LA, packed movie theater, and I was watching a movie, like, and all of a sudden, like, all or third, I'm like, that's Tom. I say out loud, that's Tom Cruise. And people were like, no. And then it started argument started in the theater. Yeah, no, it's him. And everyone started pointing at the theater. It's Tom Cruise. It's Tom Cruise. Because, he has that makeup on, and he's.
Yeah, it took a few minutes. I remember going, who is that? Guy looks so familiar. And
His
then you
voice,
realize,
his
like,
voice,
oh my God, it's Tom
unmistakable.
Cruise.
Which one used
Right.
the key grip? Which one used the key grip?
Right.
What I want you to do, walk over. I want you to punch that director in his face. And the guy does it. He goes, sorry.
Right.
This movie had the biggest testicles of any movie ever made, ever. I mean, it's number one. I mean, when they start talking about, well, you don't know, do you? You went full retard. You go full retard. You go.
Right.
And they're just saying, you're moronical. Yeah, I was moronical.
And that was my
Paul,
first introduction to Danny McBride, too.
Yeah. Paul, to your credit, Rock of Ages was 2012. So you're right. It was 11 years ago.
Okay, I was just guessing.
Yeah, you did good.
That is the one song from Def Leppard that I never want to hear again.
Rock of Ages?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. I did hear Photograph on the way to the gym today. And
That's a good song.
Yeah, I like it, but I've mentioned this once before. They play just an overabundance of Def Leppard, just too much. When you've got so many songs to choose from, there's no logical reason to just keep playing the same artist or the same song over and over, and they do it.
Well,
What are we going to say, Paul?
Sirius XM?
I don't.
I should get it. Steve's right. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I have not listened to terrestrial radio since 2012, since I got Sirius XM. And it's funny, people laugh at me that I pay $10 a month for a radio to listen to the radio, but there are things on there, new bands and classic stuff that I never would have heard of if it wasn't for Sirius XM. I can only imagine this is probably like what listening to the radio back in the 70s or 80s when you actually had disc jockeys.
Right. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, two things. One, Steve Jones, the guitar player for the Sex Pistols, had a show for like 10 years in LA. And it was like, you got to get to work and somehow get that thing in your ear and listen to this show. Because I know he pulled these songs out of nowhere. You hear him. He'd have the bands in there. And he could play, like he had Bananarama in there playing. And he had that guy who I worship, Rocco DeLuca, in there. He's playing. He'll just sit up because that guy can shred. Okay, he's a really good player, and he would just play with bands, and it was really cool. And then he had like Daniel Day-Lewis on there, and he was busting his balls one day, and I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. Like he was just ripping on Daniel Day-Lewis to his face. Daniel Day-Lewis was like, "Yeah, okay, that's true," and he goes, "My band, boy, remember that from There Will Be Blood."
Well, was he making fun of him because he only had one left foot?
Oh, Steve.
Terrible.
Oh, I was going to say the other thing is, a guy I know, he's a doctor, and he can shred. He's a world-class player. He made me listen to the first two Def Leppard albums, not our Hysteria. That's the third or fourth one, if I'm not mistaken. And that's Phil. Oh my God,
Pyromania was either the third or the fourth. I think it's the third.
Well, I thought they had stuff in the 70s.
No. Phil Collin, I used to like, he was on the metal show as a guitar player guest. I was there, and I thought my head was going to explode. Like, he could rival Hendrix, but he's playing this garbage on I'm sorry, Phil, on the Def Leppard albums. So my buddy who's a doctor says, go listen to their first 2 albums. They're shredding on there. It's hardcore stuff. I went back. It's pretty loud and proud, and it's good. And then Phil Collins was in this band who I worship called Girl.
Right.
I worship this band, and the singer, I forget the singer's Phil Lewis or something like that. He ended up being the singer for LA Guns. But anyway, that band Girl, Phil Collins on there, and he is ripping, dude. I mean, it's just full hard-on glam ripping. So anyway, that's just me.
Okay, let me make this comment real quick. It's off topic, but I got to say it because Steve, you mentioned in Tropic Thunder that it was the first time you saw Danny McBride. He was in a series called Eastbound and Down. Oh my God.
I discovered that after.
Oh, okay.
After Tropic Thunder,
because that was the first time I had ever seen him, and I mean it is funny beyond description. Really, really.
Well, that's one of the
funny.
greatest shows of all time.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Have you seen his first movie that made it Foot Fist Way?
I have not.
Yes. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Oh my God, Steve, you will die. Like we should watch it together. Like maybe we'll watch it this weekend. I'll get it somewhere.
You should. Yeah.
So it's in the same vein as his other stuff. So I'm
yes.
assuming.
Okay.
Yeah. He's played the same guy every time. Like
right.
Danny McBride.
Righteous Gemstones. If you guys haven't seen this thing, it's
I've Righteous Gemstones. Yeah.
Me and Kenny are kind of religious, but this guy makes people hate religion. Now, of course, he's playing a character, of course.
Right.
But this guy, makes fun of all these televangelists who are super, super wealthy, and they're the most corrupt family. They're worse than the Corleones, right? And that's what this show is about, the Righteous Gemstones. And Walter Goggins?
Walter Goggins should get an Emmy if he has.
He walks on the screen. It's like Danny McBride. He walks on there, and it's like you cannot look away from him. You know?
Okay.
Remember, he's the guy in Predators. He's that little guy who was the prisoner. He has that naked woman on his chest, and he's pushing her.
Oh, okay.
No, he goes, "That's my sister."
I will watch anything Walter Goggins is in.
Okay.
Have you seen Vice Principals?
No. Yeah.
Oh, so it's Danny McBride and Walter Goggins, who Bill Murray is. The premise is Bill Murray is the principal and retires. And this is in the first 10 minutes of the first episode. And so the Danny McBride and Walter Goggins are the vice principals, and they're fighting over who's going to be the principal. And they end up giving it to somebody else. And then the two hate each other, but they decide to team up to take down the new principal to get her job. So it's pretty funny.
Who is that woman? There's a woman on the Righteous Gemstones. She's a little bit taller. She's a brunette. That woman.
Yeah, she's in Vice Principals too.
She is, oh my God, she's like one of the funniest human beings I've ever seen. Like, some people could rig the phone book or walk down the street and that's what this girl can do. Because she's like, her brothers are all pooping on her. She's getting pissed off, and she thinks she's got talent. She wants to show it. So she goes with Walter Goggins. They start singing like her mother. Oh, it's brilliant. It's just
Edie Patterson is her name.
Oh, is that her name?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
But
I don't know who it is.
Her boyfriend or husband in that movie or that show, BJ. The fact that his name is BJ, number one.
It's brilliant. It's really. If you're writing,
this is a movie or a series?
It's a
series, yeah.
Okay, all right. I've never heard of it, but I got.
Yeah, Righteous Gemstone. It's on HBO.
Okay.
I would not let your lovely wife see it.
Right. Understood.
Yeah. Like The Boys.
Understood. Right.
I made my wife watch the first season of The Boys, and at first she was trying to keep distance and try to now she is so sucked in.
Mine won't watch The Boys. She watched the first 5 minutes and was like, "That would never happen. Why would he run through somebody and kill them, a superhero, and not stop to help him?" I think that's the whole point of the show.
That's exactly. You just said the premise of the show, honey. That's exactly why they have a show. Look at the cramp. Oh God. Go ahead.
What? Oh, you're getting a cramp? Okay. No. Well, we're Do you got any more musicals
all right.
or rock
So
musicals?
now let's leave rock out.
Okay.
Talk about Saturday Night Fever.
Okay.
It's a musical. No, it's not really. It's a hybrid, isn't it?
It's kind of a hybrid. You can't really say it's a musical, but because
they don't sing, yeah.
Yeah, but because it's so close, we're gonna let it give an honorary.
I hate musicals as a matter of I can't stand it.
I'm not a fan.
Like Saturday Night Fever, I don't mind the fact that there's songs, there's a soundtrack, there's music that's what the movie's about. But I cannot stand it when, hey, let's break out into a song and dance now. It's stupid. I can't stand them. There are only two musicals that I like: Singing in the Rain and Camelot.
Yes.
Okay. Paul, you and I saw. It seems like it must have been 20 years ago. Chicago. Steve, I'm not a big fan of musicals, and I got to tell you, I thought Chicago was awesome. I mean, Richard Gere is another left-wing retard, but he's a good actor.
Very good.
And in this movie, I mean, it's undeniable. He's just awesome.
Does he sing in it?
He does, doesn't he?
Okay. Yeah. I don't think he does it. He like blows away and just sings along.
Nothing that requires a lot of vocal range. Yeah.
But yeah. Because you're talking about that was written by the greatest musical director of all time, Bob Fosse.
Okay.
He should have a continent named after him. That man is amazing. He's kind of a piece of crap. If you ever watch FX had this show on called Fosse Verdon. Okay, he was married to this Gwen Verdon. She was like one of the greatest dancers, singers in history.
I've heard the name.
So another musical that Kenny and I liked, and I'll say it, Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
I can watch that movie like every other day. I really like it.
Like, I can't believe nobody has said Grease yet.
Well, I'm getting there. Yeah.
Okay.
What was the? Go ahead and talk about Grease, Steve.
Yeah.
I do. I wouldn't say it's a guilty pleasure. I don't own it. My sister was a big fan of it growing up, so I saw it more times than I care to. But
Steve, you were one at the time.
Yeah. Well, we would rent it on,
yeah,
VHS or whatever. And
right.
It'd be on HBO every once in a while. And
yeah.
Grease 2 actually wasn't that bad either. The funny part about Grease is I watched it as a kid and I didn't get it. And then you grow up and you get older and you're like, oh, so that's what they were talking about the whole time.
There's a lot of dirty stuff on that movie.
A lot. Yeah. What's this? A gangbang? You wish.
That movie is so brilliant. I realized the effect of it. Well, it came out in 77, 78, Kenny, 79?
78, yeah.
So when it re-released in the 90s?
They had a 20th anniversary, because I remember a girl I was dating at the time wanted to go see it, and I was like, no.
So I go to see I've seen some movie down at the PGA cinema, and there's like 10 girls. They're all like, and they're my age. They're 25 or 30. And they're dressed like Sandy D. And when that comes on, those bitches were practicing. They get right up and they're singing with it. It's like,
really?
And they were dancing, and the whole audience started giving standing ovation just for the trailer. I was like, damn.
Well, were they dressed like her at the beginning or the end?
The beginning. Funny. You're very funny.
Because the end.
That's she's dressed like a tramp. Look, put the cigarette down. You better give up. Woo, woo, woo. I love that movie. I love it.
That was good. It was good. I saw it in a movie theater. I'm not going to say opening weekend, but the first week I saw it, and it was really good. And since then, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never seen the full movie again since 1978. It's first and only time I saw the whole thing. Thought it was great, though.
Yeah, and then I had never heard. Now Sha Na Na, believe it or not, played at Woodstock, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. And so they were in the movie, and they had about 2 or 3 songs in there, and they had some hits. It was very. There's a real. It's what else? What else is another musical? I know I'm forgetting one.
Well, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea either.
Listen, when I was a teenager, that was all the rage. It showed at midnight movies, and I don't think they even do that anymore, but that was such a big thing back in those days. And they would show it at midnight movies, and it would be packed. It was never a light audience. It would be packed. People would dress like the characters in the movie and scream out all the lines because everybody knew all the dialogue, whatever. And it was fun. I mean, I always had a good time.
Yeah, they still do that. You'll every once in a while you'll see they'll have a midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and people will come dressed up. Not my thing, but
what about Hair? I like Hair a lot.
The remake? Didn't they remake it with John Travolta?
No. Treat Williams star.
You're talking about Hair, or no? I'm thinking Hairspray.
Correct.
Hairspray is a John Waters movie.
Yes, but I think they
remade it with John Travolta. You're correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did. Because I remember seeing that going, are you kidding me? What? Yeah. And I'm trying to think of somebody else was in that, but I can't think of who it is now.
What about a lot of people like this movie? Jeremy, our dead friend, worshipped it. I love a lot of the music, but the movie just The Wall, Pink Floyd.
I never saw it.
I never saw it either.
There's some cool stuff in there. Of course, like Kenny and I will know, we can sing all the songs in the movie because we know them. Because we play them on classic rock over and over and over. And it's never,
Yeah, I love Pink Floyd, but I probably never have to listen to them ever again because they play the same 12 songs by them.
That is true.
That's why I don't listen to radio at all, zero. And again, Steve, I don't know if you were on this show before. There used to be, it's still there, a radio station, WKPX of Fort Lauderdale. And back in the day when I was in my 20s, late 20s, they had people on there, like Kenny said, these people's job was to never play a song you ever heard on the radio, on the normal radio, ever. And these jokers went out and were just smoking. And like, I knew a couple of people, and the guy goes, I have a bedroom full of CDs and albums. And I go through 10 or 20 in a weekend. And I just put them on. Like if I like the song or if I don't, I'll put them on, give you one or two. And he was like, okay, if you're going to write this down, he said, this is so-and-so. This is Roosterhead coming up. This is Marilyn Manson coming up, right? And that's where I heard COC.
Really?
Never played on the radio because radios are stupid. Corrosion of Conformity, Kenny. And I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, I called the guy up, did you say Corrosion of Conformity? He goes, yes. And I was like, oh my God, I went out and bought that CD just like about 25 others. And
I got turned on to COC because of Butthead.
I turned on to
really?
You didn't like it. Remember I first
No, I bought that. I bought one of their, I think it's Blind.
Blind and Delivered. Those are two.
Yeah. I bought whatever the first one is. Whatever the album Dance of the Dead, which is
that's on Blind.
Okay, it's on Blind. I bought that when I was in high school because I liked the song. It was on Beavis and Butthead.
Well, then one day you and I were in the car and I played the next album, Deliverance. You go, that's okay. Like you weren't.
Well, if that's what I said, I may have said that. I take it back because that is an.
No, it's album. Okay. No, it's all right. I'm just saying. Sometimes it's all mood too. Sometimes you hear something you're not that receptive mood, right? Like
Well, I never heard the Rainbow, the version of the song. I don't even know was Glenn Hughes the singer of Rainbow on Since You've Been Gone?
No, it's Graham something. Right?
Yeah.
Graham Parker, maybe Kenny.
It wasn't Glenn Hughes.
Okay.
Rainbow has 774 singers.
Yeah. A lot of personnel changes in that band.
Well,
to their credit, they've made good music all through the multiple decades.
Since You've Been Gone it was in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
That's for singing along, and that's okay. We can talk about one night. Go ahead.
We got our warning, so let's shift into. Well, if you have any final comments, that's fine. Otherwise, let's shift into honorary Oscar awards.
Yeah, go ahead, guys. I'm percolating.
Well, here's what I'm going to offer since we mentioned him earlier, And I don't care which movie or show, but Danny McBride, he's never going to get a real Oscar, but he deserves awards for the comedic genius of the roles that he has played. Oh, and by the way, I should also mention that whoever had the idea of putting him in the most recent of the Alien movies, which was like 5 years ago or something like that, it's a complete waste. Why would you even have the guy?
Agree. That's awful.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a good, it was not a good movie, okay? But
no, it's terrible.
Why would you have Danny McBride in there and then not utilize him for what he does? What a waste.
I will say this, maybe it's because I agree with what you're saying. Danny McBride, probably that character, he doesn't fit that franchise.
Probably.
But he's a big horror fan, and maybe that was, he just wanted to get in on it. I don't know, because he wrote the screenplays for the most recent Halloween trilogies, which completely different from anything he's done. So I have a feeling like he's a big horror fan. So
you're probably right, and that, at least that's sort of a logical explanation, because otherwise it just makes no sense.
Yeah,
because I think as far as sci-fi and Alien, Bill Paxton carved out that comedic role, and they're like, we're not going to go within 100 miles of that.
Right.
Bill should have got an Academy Award for Aliens.
Right.
He should have
game over.
Game over. Let's put out and call it even. All right, so my honorary Oscar next week is going to be Bill Paxton, who's dead, unfortunately, and Margaret. This woman is smoking, one of the most beautiful women on earth ever, and she could sing. Like, her voice in Tommy, she could just belt that crap out. And I saw a video on YouTube of her and Tina Turner singing Proud Mary together, and I was like,
yeah, you mentioned that.
Oh my God, this is awesome. And she was in that movie Magic with Anthony Hopkins about the puppet, the dummy.
That was good. That was a good movie.
Oh my God, I love that woman. I love her.
You know what else she was in? She was in Carnal Knowledge with Jack Nicholson and Art Garfunkel. Yeah.
Art would sing songs to her. Sorry.
Right.
So I got two real quick I want to say.
Go ahead.
Best sequel of all time, and people are going to think it's going to be Empire Strikes Back. It's really Jaws 2, and there's only 2 good Jaws movies. The reason why I say that is because it's coming out on 4K here in a couple of weeks. I already pre-ordered it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like an action movie. I like it. It's not the greatest sequel of all time, but I do.
Are you nominating The Shark?
It's an honorary Oscar, so I'll give it to Jaws too. But also, I also, because you brought up Anne Margaret, I was thinking of I always got her confused with Anne Bancroft, but so there's a tie in here. She was married, I believe, to Mel Brooks.
Yes,
and at least at one time. And so my honorary Oscar is the movie 1976 silent movie, which would not be able to be made today.
Right.
There's only one line of dialogue in that of sync sound in the entire movie. And it's along the lines of Blazing Saddles. It would not be able to be made
right.
today.
Mel Brooks was very, politically incorrect with his humor, which would not fly today. But that's the
but
world
his
we live
wife,
in.
they keep mentioning, I think in that movie, Anne Bancroft. It wasn't until later I realized that she was married to Mel Brooks is the reason why. But if you haven't seen it, it's not very many people. I think it's not very well known of one of his movies, but it's about him trying to in the 70s trying to bring back a silent movie to make, and he's trying to
remember the scene with the Coke machine and it keeps hitting him in the groin. Oh my God!
Right. Okay. Oh, and by the way, Anne Bancroft was in The Graduate, so sooner or later we should do an entire episode on The Graduate. I love that movie. It's just wonderful. Yeah, it's really good. Okay, that's a wrap then for tonight. This is the Great Classic Movie Debate. I'm Kenny.
Paul.
I'm Steve.
Yes, we thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our sister channel, The Great Classic Rock Debate. Until we meet again, we will see you next time.